Testing. I look. If I can't be heard, we'll roll it right down and help fix it up there. Okay. Testing, testing.
I got to go up there and let them know you're using it.
Okay.
Hang on. Let me take a real quick peek. Check.
I love it. I like beer.
Look at this. I'm looking at the parking lot going, oh, Lord.
Testing. See, this doesn't work. Doesn't work when I'm talking like this.
Inappropriate never works.
Oh, I love that. I do that all the time.
It
Just ask my.
happened to me at a meeting.
Oh no.
I was talking. Testing. Testing 1, 2. Hey, how are you? Nice to see you. One needs to be at the candle table, and then one for you.
Thank you. They always say they can't hear the people at the candles. Testing 1, 2, 3.
You need to be close to it.
Like this.
Yes.
I don't know which one to use.
Whichever one you want to use.
Testing, testing. Okay. If and when you're ready to play around with some music. Okay, so I won't talk. I won't have time to get together.
Yes.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Let that be the first time in the history that a rabbi has kicked someone off the bima so that he can get started. That's a good problem to have. Oh, can we turn the screen off? Fantastic. Ask and you shall receive. There's a surprise. My kids are coming in loud. You've missed us, haven't you? We've missed you too, so it's good. So nice to see everyone this evening. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Temple Beth Shalom. I am Rabbi Aaron Boxt, if you've forgotten who I was, because it's been a few weeks. I know that you remember Dale and her partner in crime. Introduce him.
Oh, my accompanist and darling husband, Raul.
And of course, everyone's favorite president, at least for this next year and a half, Kay. Don't even joke about that. Why? They're just messing with me now. They're just messing with me. That's what it is. This is their welcome back. It's not April yet. We don't need April Fools yet. Oh, that's Wayne. That's his way of doing jokes. You're the silent jokester tonight, huh? So let's begin, as we always do, with some simchot, some wonderful things that happened in our lives in the past weeks. Anybody want to raise their hand? Birthdays, anniversaries? Yes. Your daughter is 36 years old. Wow, you could be like her sister. You're welcome. Well, mazel tov to her and to you.
Wait a second. She has another announcement that she's not saying. You have a new family member today.
Oh, I actually knew that because she told me yesterday, but I thought she was going to wait till her husband could introduce the puppy.
New puppy is a big thing.
Yes, I'm aware, especially when your husband makes you wait to get him. I'm going to get myself around over here. Stand. 86. Well, you know, technically there's another Shabbat before that, but that's a birthday we could celebrate twice. So somebody help me remember to say it again next week as well. I'm going to get to Susan. I can see. In the back, Ted.
Both my granddaughters got notice that they made dean's list.
That is not the notice I was thinking you were going to say, so I'm really glad. Congratulations on that. Yes. Hey, did you cheat? Did you cheat? Oh, excellent. Then that's even better. Rita? Fantastic. I look forward to seeing them next week. Janet got a haircut. You got them all cut. Yes, Amy? 29, right? Happy birthday, Susan. This Susan. And next week is him. I was hoping that wasn't going to happen because we could go from one Susan to the next. But happy birthday, too. Yes? Okay, well, happy. How many years apart are they?
A year and 2 days. 1 year and 2 days.
Wow, you guys didn't wait for it. You waited. The doctor said you need to wait till this time, and you said, okay, fine. Next day it happens. Susan.
I had a milestone birthday. I can legally drink now. But the big news is
Where? On Mars? On all 50 states. Excellent.
Michael is the walker.
Yay, yay. I thought I noticed something missing. That's wonderful for both. In the back, y'all moved on me. Yay. So are you about 20 years older than Susan? You'll be 80. Wow, I would never in a million years have guessed you were 80. If you haven't seen him on the farm, you would never guess he's 80. Any others? Oh, yes.
My baby turned 22 on the 3rd.
Emily. Happy birthday, Emily, if you're still up there. Botcha first.
We're official. We all have name tags now.
I thought we were official when I signed the contract. So they. Oh, okay. So that means you're gonna get paid too now. Yeah. Akiva said, "Yeah." Carly. Yeah, but we're not gonna sell it. No. Stop. You don't need to hear it. As a, you are not a graduate of Georgia. Stop it. Shh. There's one thing that every Georgia graduate does not need: hope. We don't need it. It is the absolute opposite of what we want. So we don't celebrate that we beat Ohio State. Oh, because the drive back from Houston would have been a lot worse. That's true. We'll celebrate hopefully on Monday night late. Yes, Danica. Yes, she did. Her grandma turned to 83 on Christmas. That's not true. It was 27th, wasn't it? I'm aware when my dad's birthday is. So her pop and grandma turned 80 and 83 in the matter of days from each other. Yes, Betsy.
Michael and I are happy to introduce guests who are here tonight. We have friends of ours who are members of the church.
Yes, I recognize one of them. Hello, welcome. I think we have other members of the church here too, right? I thought we had other members of the church here. Oh, yes.
I just want to promote that we just sing.
Okay, we're not doing announcements.
I am so sorry.
That's okay, because we can't do that because then we'll never start services. These are not announcements. These are things that we're celebrating coming up. Or Bert, yes, we're going to celebrate that during announcements. Announcements. She gets her own announcement. You know why he wants to celebrate it? Because he plays 5 roles in it. So he wants you all to see how well he can act. Okay, now that we've gotten past all of that, we'll actually start our service. We're going to begin with the singing of Yehi Ratzon by Dale and Raul. So 2 years ago, today, I sat in horror, as many of us I'm sure did, as one of the darkest days in our American history happened. But thankfully, we came out of it a better country. And this is the the two prayers I would like to share with you tonight on the 2-year anniversary of the January 6th resurrection. Adonai, our God, please help us to understand the pain of others. Enable us to share in the burden of all of those who are in pain. Help us to learn to live the lives you would have us to live. Teach us to be godlike in our relations with our neighbors. Adonai, our God, lead us to peace for all people. Enable us to join together as one people. Help us to see beyond race, color, and creed. Teach us what we need to know even when we are unaware. Adonai, help us live together. And a poem that I wrote called The Perfection of Imperfection. The great experiment in democracy, a land committed to freedom, liberty, and justice. The flag ripples in the wind, flying proudly for all to see. For 246 plus years, the United States has existed as a nation. Our story is filled with the perfection of imperfection. Our Statue of Liberty welcomes all into our New York harbor. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, words every American knows well, words symbolizing our liberty. Throughout our history, mistakes have been made. Internment camps, a civil war, riots for civil rights, Watergate. Mistakes have been made, yet one thing about the United States is clear. We are strong, we are vibrant, we will continue to succeed. The U.S. is great. What is perfection? This does not exist. Imperfection allows us to always strive to do more and be better. The United States has achieved great successes. Our failures just give us more room to grow and more room to be great. Let us celebrate our successes while remembering we have a distance to go in order for us to truly become the beacon on the hill, where all men and women are not only created, but treated equally. God bless the United States of America. May we continue to grow to greatness. Amen. I'd like to invite Susan Ahern to lead us in our Shabbat candle lighting on page 2.
Does this come out? Okay. All right. It's the trick birthday candle, right? Yeah. Try one more time. I think it's because the wick's so short there. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Page 9. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. We continue singing Hine Ma Tov on page 10.
אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. לה 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 לה.
We continue singing Lecha Dodi on page 20.
לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, ישמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכוונך, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם ניסוך. סוף מעשי במחשבה תהילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי. אורי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני אלוהיך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
And for those of you that listened to me and were seated, please rise again. Turn to page 26 for Chatzi Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divrach yivrutei, v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala, ba'agala, uvizman kariv, ve'meru, amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach, le'olam u'lo me'almaya, yitzbarach, yitzbarach ve'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitramam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shmei dekudasha brechu. Leila min kol berchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma, v'meru, amen. Page 28, Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai, HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai, HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. We continue in Hebrew on page 30. Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach she'arim, uvidvuna mishanei itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umsader et hakochavim, b'mishrotehem barakia kirtsono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil bein yom uvein layla, Adonai tziva'ot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Emily, would you mind just going upstairs and asking me to turn mine down a little bit? Do you hear the feedback? Yeah. And I'm going to take a break for a few minutes, so you just can listen to Dale singing beautiful songs. Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amecha ahavta, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadata, Otanu limadata. Haken Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbenu, u'kumenu nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, ki hem chayenu, v'orech yameinu, uvehem negeh yomam v'layla, negeh yomam v'layla, ve'ahavatcha al tasir, mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael, Ohev amo Yisrael.
Please rise for the Shema, page 34.
Shema Yisrael,
Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. We continue with Ve'ahavta, page 36. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele Asher Anochi Mitzavecha Hayom Al Levavecha Veshinantam Levanecha Vedibarta Bam Beshivtecha Bevetecha Uvlechtecha Vaderech Uvshochbecha Uvekumecha Ukshartam Leot Al Yadecha Vehayilototafot Bein Einecha Uktavtam Al Mezuzot Beitecha Uvisharecha Leman Tizkeru Vasitem et kol mitzvotai Vitem kedoshim lelohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Lihiot lachem lelohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. We read responsively on page 39. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Micha Mocha, page 40. Page 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our heart. Wow, there's an echo. Echo. I turned it on. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. We continue singing V'shamru, page 44.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש.
We rise and turn to page 46 for the tefillah. Adonai sefartai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chastei Avot Ve'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shema B'Ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah Rav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechalkel chaim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim. So make no fleem verofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, lishenei afar, michamocha ba'al gevurot, umido melach, Melech memit u'mechaye u'matzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman atah lahachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom yihallelu selah. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated. On page 52, we have the Kedusha. And when I started my career in Atlanta at Temple Kolemeth, Blake Singer, who is still the maestro, I guess you could say, he's still the cantoral soloist. He wrote a lot of music. He's written a lot of music, and one of the songs he wrote was a rendition of Atah Kadosh, which was so beautiful that we actually brought it to Knoxville, And since they had a choir and a professional piano player, not that you're not, but that was her job for a living, I was able to give them the music, and they brought it, and they started doing it every Friday. And I've been wanting to bring it here, so I finally got up the gumption, if you will, to ask Blake if we could use it, and of course he was thrilled. So I have the music for it. So at some point, hopefully soon, I know that you want it. At some point, hopefully soon, I will bring it because it's a really beautiful version of Atah Kadosh, and it's really pretty. And it's one of my congregants in Knoxville said that it was foo-foo to her. Well, I think this congregation likes foo-foo, so it's befitting for this congregation. They enjoyed listening to the choir sing in Knoxville, and it's nice to bring music. So we'll try something different at some point coming up soon. And if you're watching and you're from Knoxville, I'm not saying bad things about you. I'm just you like. Anyway, let's move on. Page 55, please. Carly wants to do it? Not tonight. Not tonight, another night. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Page 57. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, shodcha levadecha b'yara na'avod. We continue singing Shalom Rav on page 60.
Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon, b'chol ha'shalom. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Baruch atah Adonai, Israel Bashalom.
We turn our prayer books now to page 62 as I play for you a version of the Elohim Tzor that was written or composed by Danny Massing, or Masing, depending on who you ask. And it's really beautiful, so enjoy. As soon as I find the... The gentleman that you heard singing the solo at the end showed up one Friday night. He was invited. This is another choir member had invited him to audition to be in the choir, and he sang Moon River. Tall African-American man with very deep voice. So, Old Man River? Whatever. One of those songs had... And one of those songs that had a tremendous range. And when he went to the high and then he went to the low, we were like, huh. So that's why Carly's crying, because she remembers that guy, and he worked with her at where she worked for a year or so when we were still there. Anyway, moving on. That's right. That's right, Ruby. On Monday night, if you were anywhere in the United States of America and you were watching television, you know you were, whatever you were watching or listening to was interrupted because there was a Buffalo Bills player who collapsed on the field and had to be revived once on the field and then once again on his way to the ambulance or to the hospital in Cincinnati. Now, I am a New York Giants fan, so I don't watch the Buffalo Bills or the Cincinnati Bengals, but I had the television on and everybody in Facebook was all over the place. And if you have not followed the news, this young 24-year-old Damar Hamlin, in his second year of his rookie contract, was literally brought back to life, put in a coma, kept in a coma for 4 days. Today, he actually FaceTimed with his teammates. So not only is he breathing on his own, but he's talking, and he's, I wouldn't say that he has had a full recovery yet because he's still in the hospital, but there was a couple of days where my sermon this week was going to be about him. It's not, thankfully, because it's just another example of prayer and work, because everybody that I know, no matter who they're a fan of, was praying for this guy and his family. And so I do want to lift his name up, Damar Hamlin, in our prayers of healing this Shabbat. But I include in our prayers this evening Michael Ahern, Herbert Brinker, Peter Clark, Carol DeWitt, which is so good to see you back. Tracy Duquette, the Harari family, Yocheved Brocha, Bat Devora, Isabel Hutchins, Elise Kaplan, Kathy Katz, Sharon Kennedy, Jean Kincaid, Leslie Latto, Ruth Martin, Allison Nathan, Abraham Ben Lieber, Vibit Salel, Joel Newman, Helen Newman, Jenna Newman, Michael Nusanov, Anat Prager, Hillary Katz Regan, Chuck Ritchie, Emily Rocklin, Moish Rosenblum, Christine Ruckman, Jackie Sachs, Dr. Hossein Tehrani, Bonnie Tillman, Patrick Clifton, husband of Sarah Clifton, Kim Conrad, daughter of Rita Singer, Joel Coltrera, son of Kathy Katz, Beverly Gordon, remembered by Amy Schwartz, or thought of, not remembered, considered in prayers by Amy Schwartz, Kim Hudson, friend of Deborah Johnson, Hillel Roebuck, cousin of Dale Berman Garfinkel, Ann Sack, sister-in-law of Betsy Brody, and Elizabeth Wadbrook, friend of Betsy Brody. If there is a name that you'd like to add into our prayers of healing this Shabbat, please raise your hand. Yeah. Rachel.
Bill Gaston.
We turn to page 253 as we sing the words Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avoteinu, Avraham, Yitzhak, v'Yaakov. Misha Berach Emoteinu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, v'Rachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless Bless us with the power of your hope. May our hearts be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Bless us with a vision for tomorrow. Help us to reach out to those in pain. May the warmth of friendship ease our sorrow. Give us courage, give us faith, show us the way. Mishaberach Avoteinu, Mishaberach Emoteinu. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well.
This is the first Shabbat of the secular year 2023. If you see a little piece of felt running around here, it fell off my microphone. Just keep your eyes open for it, please. So happy secular New Year. In late 2021, I saw a meme on Facebook depicting 2020, 2021, and 2022. 2020 was a dumpster fire. 2021 was a forest fire. And 2022 was holding a beer saying, "Hold my beer." The implication was that 2022 would be a worse year than 2021 and 2020. Or perhaps because it was unknown, we were unsure what to think. Truthfully, I do believe that 2021 was a better year than 2020, but that's not saying much. 2022 was slightly better than 2021, and only because of what happened in the second half of 2022. But let's take a look back at 2022. Now, these things I'm going to mention are not political, so I don't want to hear later on that you didn't appreciate what I said. These are just things that happened in our country. January, the United States Mint announced the shipping of the first of the American Woman quarters, starting with Maya Angelou, the first African-American woman to be featured on a U.S. quarter. In February of 2022, President Biden nominated the first African-American woman judge for the Supreme Court, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. In March, the United States men's national team qualified for the 2022 World Cup, which, although that was great, what happened afterwards wasn't so great. But in April, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson became the first black woman confirmed as a Supreme Court justice. In May of 2022, the Boxed family visited and interviewed here. In June, Rabbi Boxed and Temple Beth Shalom signed a contract beginning their new relationship. In July, thank you, the Boxed family moved to Ocala and began their new lives in sunny and incredibly rainy Florida. In August, there was a slow news month. So here's a just so you know. A Gallup poll found that more Americans are smoking cannabis than cigarettes for the first time in U.S. history. Slow news month. September, first of many to come, High Holy Day period with TBS and the Boxed family. October, Elon Musk completed his $44 billion acquisition of Twitter, yet another slow news month. November, the House Democratic Caucus elected Hakeem Jeffries to be its leader for the 118th Congress, first black lawmaker to lead a party in Congress, and as of right now, potentially the next Speaker of the House. We won't go there. And in December, Senator Raphael Warnock was the first black senator from Georgia, won his runoff election for a 6-year term. When we begin to consider 2023, we should think about what happened in 2022 and how we can improve ourselves and our world. This is not something we do individually or as a group. We do it both as individuals and as a group. As we get older, time begins something to fly by and seems to never last long enough. When we get to the, quote, end of our lives, the days and years seem to get longer and longer once again, just like when we were kids. What an amazing thing time is, and yet it is also of incredible importance to us. Our sacred book, our Torah, tells us many tales of our ancestors who came to the end of their lives and wondered. They may have had dreams and things they wanted to accomplish, but nonetheless they did not dwell on these, and they always remembered the covenant. This week's Torah portion is Vayechi, and he lived. The first verse of our parsha is, Vayechi Yaakov be'eretz Mitzrayim sheva esrei shana, Vayehi yamei Yaakov shnei chayav sheva shanim ve'arba'im u'me'at shana. Jacob lived 17 years in the land of Egypt, so that the span of Jacob's life came to 147 years. We are now at the end of Jacob's life, and we find Jacob gathering his family together to pass on the blessing of the covenant. Jacob's dying wish is that his favorite son, Joseph, will promise, not that we ever have favorites as children, or for children, right? Jacob's dying wish is that Joseph will not bury him in Egypt. Joseph is to bury Jacob in the place of his fathers and mothers in the land of Israel, in the cave of Machpelah, where Jacob's grandfather Abraham had originally buried Sarah. Jacob then says to Joseph, quote, "Now your 2 sons who were born to you in the land of Egypt before I came to you in Egypt shall be mine. Ephraim and Manasseh shall be mine, no less than Reuben and Simeon." End quote. Manasseh and Ephraim take Joseph's slot in the land holding. It's really annoying. So much for an expensive sound system. We got to get that figured out. That was not to you. That was just out loud. Manasseh and Ephraim take Joseph's slot in the land holding, in the spaces around the ark and in the land of Israel surrounding Jerusalem once they get there. It is the passing of the blessing from Jacob to Joseph and Ephraim and Manasseh that continues the line of Abraham, continuing to fulfill God's promise to Abraham. Next week, we will begin the book of Shemot, Exodus. Within the first few verses we read, Vayakom melech chadash al Mitzrayim, asher lo yada et Yosef. A new king arose over Egypt who did not know Joseph. Right away, the entire story of the line of Abraham dismissed. In the last few chapters of Genesis, the remarkable story of our connection to the land of Israel, we see our people rise to fame and fortune in Egypt, with 2 of our great ancestors, Jacob and Joseph, requesting their bodies and bones be brought back into the land of Israel. And now, a new king arises who did not know Joseph. We can assume that if he did not know Joseph, he did not know of Joseph's contributions to the success of Egypt. After all, if it wasn't for Joseph, Egypt may not have existed any longer. And most assuredly, I can read, we can assume that the new king did not know about Joseph's family line and God's promise to the family. It is important to remember, however, that earlier in Genesis, God told Abraham all of these things would happen. In Genesis 15, verses 13 and 14, we read, quote, "And he said to Abram, Know with certainty that your offspring shall be aliens in a land not their own. They will serve them, and they will oppress them for 400 years. But also, the nation that they shall serve, I shall judge, and afterwards they shall leave with great wealth. What do we learn from this? Well, we learn that God works in mysterious ways. That's for one thing. God made a promise to Abraham that his people would be great in number and would inherit the land of Israel. Then God told Abraham his people would be slaves in a foreign land and would one day be returned with even greater wealth back to the land of Israel. Each event that God has promised has happened. And although we became slaves, as God promised Abraham we would, in the first few verses of Exodus, it still makes us wonder, why? When wonders happen, we often will say, Baruch Hashem, or thank God for these wondrous miracles. But when terrible things happen, such as any of the tragedies that have happened in the past few years, we bang our fists against the table and we ask God, why? Do I have the answer? No, but I have some thoughts. That's exactly how I feel. Sometimes, even though we try to understand God's plan, we are not able to, and boy, is that frustrating. That's the word. Maybe one day we will understand when God decides to let us understand. Frustrating. And maybe one day we will look back and wonder where all that time went while we were wondering and wasting time trying to figure things out. I think of the story of the rabbi who was being moved from one congregation to another. And the rabbi's wife is not happy about the move. The rabbi's wife doesn't want to move. The rabbi's wife has a great job and friends and doesn't want to move. But yet the rabbi moves nonetheless. And guess what happens? The wife becomes happy. Not because of the loss of job or loss of friends, but because the new community is much better fit for her. It took the agony and distress and anger of the move to find that out. All that time wondering why. Sometimes we find out when we don't expect to. During those times when we're truly wondering, and even in those moments of agony and catastrophe, let us not blame God. Rabbi Harold Kushner wrote, quote, "Insurance companies refer to earthquakes, hurricanes, and other natural disasters as acts of God. I consider that a case of using God's name in vain." Let me repeat that line again. I consider that a case of using God's name in vain. And I'm still quoting Kushner. I do not believe that an earthquake that kills thousands of innocent victims without reason is an act of God. For me, the earthquake is not an act of God. The act of God is the courage of the people to rebuild their lives after the earthquake, and the rush of others to help them in whatever way they can. End quote. Any one of us who has suffered a tragic moment or moments in our lives can relate to Rabbi Kushner's words. When tragedies happen, let us look to each other in our community for support, for strength, and for the love that we need. Let us think about those in our lives who have touched us in effective ways and those who have challenged us. May we find the patience to look beyond the challenge for a way to better ourselves. And may we find the time to appreciate and be thankful for those who have made our lives even a small amount better. And when we conclude any book of the Torah, we always say together, Chazak, Chazak, Venit Chazek. May we grow together as a community from strength to strength to strength. Amen. We turn in our prayer books now to page 282. I invite everyone to rise as I invite the Chillins up to open the ark door. Go open the ark door. And Dale and Raul are going to lead us in Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחת האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת זו בגבהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כה כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשיבת אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד ונאמר, והיה אדוני המלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
I think that this is a perfect opportunity before I recite the names of for the mourners Kaddish this week to mention a couple of things. First of all, nobody's perfect. Bless you. Nobody's perfect. I am by far the least from perfect, or the farthest from perfect, however you want to say it. A congregation, no matter how big or small, depends on the tremendous volunteerism that is not present in every congregation across the United States of America. This congregation is very blessed in that we have a number of, let's say, full-time volunteers. That doesn't mean they get paid any more or less, for that matter. And because you have so many people doing volunteer work, when it's not their primary job, mistakes are made. And really, there's only 2 full-time employees of this building. Well, 3 if you include the minister. And only one of them is paid by this congregation. That's me. So if there's a mistake that's happened and you get upset or angry at another member, you're really causing that person to not want to volunteer anymore. Now, I'm not saying that you should call me and yell at me, because I make mistakes too, but we need to remember that we're all a part of this family, and we all we're all equal in value. Some of us give a lot more than others. And what I've learned about this congregation is it's very forgiving. Not every individual is as forgiving as others. Thank you for laughing, Joe. But an example that I can give, and I don't want to embarrass anybody, but I'm going to anyway. Susan Bernstein is a new member of this congregation that joined shortly around the same time that I did. Is that right? You joined this year? Okay. And it seems like no matter what we do, we cannot get the yard sites of her family correct. Or her birthday. Well, the birthdays, I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. We have a system here called Rakefet, which is our database that has all of the congregational information in it. Birthdays, anniversaries, yard sites, addresses, so on and so forth. It's private. Only about 5 or 6 people have access to Rakefet, and only 1 or 2 people actually have access to change Rakefet. I'm the rabbi. I do not have access to change Rakefet. I can access Rakefet. I can't change it. I come to town and I say I have this great program called RMS that I use. If you get an email or a text or a phone call from me, it's coming from my system. Okay, well, Rakefet and my system talk to each other like Chinese and Japanese. They're both from the same area of the world, but they're different languages. So if you get a message from me that says happy birthday on the wrong date, please let me do what you've done, which many of you have already. Thank you so much, but my birthday is actually in June. Wonderful. Tell me when your birthday is so I can change it in our system. With the yard sites, it's even more complicated because the yard sites just seem to free float around. And prior to my coming here, yard sites were observed on 2 Shabbatot in a row, which I've never done that before. So when I came here, I said, we're going to observe 1 Shabbat, but we're going to observe it on the right Shabbat. So I'll give you an example. If I have a family member that dies on a Wednesday, the following Friday is when that person's yard site would be observed every year. And we go based on the secular Gregorian calendar date, unless you ask us to use the Hebrew date. But if you don't ask us to use a Hebrew date, we're going to use a Gregorian date. The point is that there's going to be mistakes that are made when there's a new rabbi. Please continue to be forgiving and understand that it's a system that's working. It's getting better every day. Susan has come to the office 3 times. I think we finally figured it out. But there's a process, so please bear with us as we get through this process. Now, I'm saying all of that because if I read the names in a few moments and there's a name that's on there that's wrong, please be forgiving when you tell me. Because we have a whole new system now that we're still using the same system, but the format's slightly different. So hopefully it will be better. And if not, remember, don't yell at volunteers. Don't yell at me either, but you can tell me. So this Shabbat, we remember the yard sites, the death anniversaries of Ronald Paley, husband of Serena Handelman, Esther Gorin, mother of Edward Gorin, Harry Heyman, grandfather of Melissa Yarger, Louis Simmons, father of Jacqueline Kokut. Shirley Schwimmer, mother of Ted Schwimmer. Meyer Diamond, father of Diana Lawrence. Samuel Siegler, father of Jules Siegler. Miriam Ruth Taub, mother of Alan Taub. Helen Bernstein, mother of Barbara Gorin. Edward Mark. Chaim Lekach, grandfather of Rachel Etheridge Lekach. Rachel Lekach, grandmother of Rachel Etheridge Lekach. Bruce Richter, husband of Elaine Richter, father of Rebecca Richter. Bernard Delman, father of Marcia Morris. Max Kufsky, father of Barbara Adler, father of Rochelle Broman. And Bernice Rockauer, the mother of Robert Rockauer. If there is a name that you'd like to add in our prayers of memory this evening, please raise your hand. We rise together as a community. We turn to page 294 for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadol v'yit Kadash Shmei Rabbah, B'alma divrach Yerutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon of Yomechon, U'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'l'amei almaya. Yitzbarach v'yishtabach v'yitzpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudasha brechu le'elam en kol berchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'yimru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, huya oseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru, Amen. Zichronam livracha, may all their memories be for a blessing, as we say together, Amen. Please be seated, and now I'd like to invite our president for some announcements.
Thank you, Rabbi, and welcome home to the Box family. We missed you the last couple weeks. I want to just kind of dovetail on the Rabbi. I cannot tell you the amount of hours this week Julie and Mark Rockland and the Rabbi and Janet Kreisman have spent trying to get yard sites right. I mean, we really are working on it, and just let us know if we're wrong, and we're going to get it fixed. It's going to be right soon. Anyway, tomorrow we have our monthly Shabbat service, Saturday service at 10:30 right here. We hope you will join us. I want to remind you all that on the 20th, we have our family Shabbat at 5:45. We have pizza for the kids, the adults too, followed by the regular Shabbat service. We have our first dinner with the Rabbi on Wednesday, January 18th. This is something new we're trying. We would love 8 people. It's maximum. It doesn't have to be a couple, but we're trying to keep it to 8 people to come and have dinner here, a catered dinner with Rabbi Box and Bacha.
Danica just looked at Mom and said, I want to go.
Not this month. Not this month. We're going to do a month with kids, but this month, Bacha, I hear, will be here, is what I've been told. Anyway, Julie is Rockland right here. She is in charge of the reservations. Yep, we have to have our people by Monday. Yep, so we can continue. We're hoping it'll be a success. Nice round visit with the Rabbi. On January 21st, I'm going to let Rita talk about this. She's much better than I am. On January 21st, we have a play right here in this sanctuary. It's Bill W. and Dr. Bob. Rita, do you want to talk for a second about it? Somehow I knew she would.
I told you I would, but I don't think I need this microphone. the people at home. Hello, wherever you are. Okay. Yeah, this is for you too. This is our first major fundraiser of the year, and 50% of all of the funds that are raised are going to right back into our congregation, into our general fund. And we definitely, I'm very proud to serve on Julie Rockland's committee. And coming soon in March will be a fashion show. That'll be the next thing on my list. But in the meantime, let me just tell you, Bill W. and Dr. Bob is a wonderful play. It is moving, it is poignant, and it is funny. We have how many members of our congregation? Bruce and I and Larry, 3 members of our congregation are in the play. I am the co-director. We have been working very hard right here in the sanctuary. We are very, very fortunate that the temple is sponsoring this event. We're going to serve pizza and soft drinks, and coffee and cake after, with a talk back for those who are interested in talking about it. It is based on the life and the true story of the founding of Alcoholics Anonymous and of Al-Anon. It is extremely interestingly well done. We're going to live stream it, so if you don't want to show up at the temple, you can watch it in the comfort of your own home. They have to go on to Unbox, but we are live streaming it here. But you have to pay for it, right? But it's less expensive than if you come. But then if you don't come, you don't get the wonderful ambiance of the temple, of the people in the audience, the pizza, the coffee and cake, and the story loses a little bit. In any case, I know that you will enjoy it. I will tell you that I knew nothing about the subject matter at all. Oh, yes, okay.
Thank you, Rita. On February 11th, there's going to be a free movie called Keeping the Faith. It has Ben Stiller in it. It'll be, I think the church is doing it, or in the social hall. I just want to make sure people know that a beginning Hebrew class is now on Tuesday at 3. Please remember to contact Rabbi Box if you need any kind of life cycle event. I put in the announcements Vanessa's email. We've just had trouble. Please contact her. And I think I'm going to quit. Shabbat Shalom. Okay, now finish. Oh, wait, no, I'm not done. I'm not done. She's right. She's right.
No, she was saying that you're not quitting.
No, this week's Oneg is sponsored by Susan and Michael Ahern in honor of Susan's big birthday. We even have ice cream. She's made a big deal, birthday cake and ice cream. The Beam of Flowers, Di Michelson in honor of Harley's birthday, Herb and Kathy Katz in honor of Deborah Perry's birthday, Mark and Julie Rockland in honor of Emily's birthday, Amy Schwartz in honor of Susan's birthday, Amy Schwartz in honor of William's birthday, Chris Switt in honor of Joe's birthday, Michael Ahern in honor of Susan's birthday. We better sing happy birthday to everybody.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Jews. Happy birthday to all the Jews. Happy birthday to you. Skip around the... No, I'm kidding. There's one other thing that I want to say. On the website, if you go to our donations page, it links to all the ways you can make donations, including the security fund, which is very important in our congregation. It's not listed on the bulletin, but it is on our webpage. So please make donations to the security fund. But I also want to say, while I was on my cruise somewhere in the Caribbean, I got a wonderful email from Michelle that said that Bob Levinson has volunteered to serve as security every Sunday during religious school. Now, a lot of you are serving on Friday nights. You're manning the television or manning the security cameras, excuse me. But to make the commitment to be here every Sunday for our children, we need to make sure that you have the calendar so you know when we're going to have the children here. You don't need just to show up because the church has their own security team. But I just wanted to make sure that we recognize you, Bob, because that's a tremendous commitment. Thank you for that. So our closing song is Dale's Choice.
Raoul chose Shalom Aleichem by Saul Zim on page 323. It's nice and fast. Please join in as you hear it. La 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 Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech, Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bohem LeShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech, Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mimelech, malachei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Seifchem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mimelech, malachei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. La 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 la
Thank you so much. Jules, you are going to be leading us in Kiddush, correct? With Michael Ahern to join you. So please join us in the social hall for Kiddush and Motzi. Shabbat Shalom.